Chapter 6. Dad, would you please help me with my homework? I'm confused here. Lucky-chan said. He was 7 and in primary 2. Come here, buddy. Let me take a look. What subject? Mr. Edenji asked as he pulled Kitten closer between his legs. It's the English language. I just have to fill the gaps to make a word. That's all, Kitten said, looking up at his dad. All right, Mr. Adenji said and changed the channel from the table tennis he was watching to Nickelodeon for us. Oh, thank God, Bisola said, smiling. She had been frowning since her dad changed the channel he wanted her to watch. Mr. Adenji smiled at Bisola and looked back through his son's book. Mr. Adenji was a popular journalist with an average height, slim and fair in complexion. Hmm, this is occupation, Kitten. Dad, you can just tell him the answer straight away. You guide him to guess, Bisola said. Okay, so Kitten. Mr. Adenji looked at his son and saw that he was distracted while watching SpongeBob SquarePants. Kitten, how about we do this assignment in your room? It's getting late and I don't want you to sleep past your bedtime. Okay, Dad. I haven't spoken with Mom tonight. Don't worry. He scooped up Kitten. I will call her before you sleep, okay? Okay. Kitten rested his head on his father's chest. Mr. Edenji bent down a little to pack up the assignment before he bade us good night. We're also going to sleep too, Tuyin said, and we looked at her. What was that about? Bisola leered. What? Oh, come on. We're going to bed, Tuyin said, and switched off the TV and the other sockets. There we go, ladies. Let's go to bed. I'm going to get cookies. Please bring me a clock, Bisola said as she let down the curtains and confirmed if the windows were locked. Having done that, we retrieved to Bisola's room and without thinking I asked, giving them a puppy pleading look, so you guys are ready to gossip with me about your group? I was already liking the two so much that I considered them my best friends. They were two friends I had after all. Those brats never gossiped about my situation in school, even though they had friends of their own, their group. But yet, they made me feel less lonely like I would have been if I didn't have them. Oh, zip it, cousin. Jane glared at me. Bisola collected her drink from Tuyin and gulped it down. It's so chilling. Do you get a lot of menstrual pain? Well, yeah, most times. Why? Bisola replied to me. You take an excess of sugar and I wonder how you aren't fat. I eyed her body. Hereditary, darling, Bisola said, smiling. Hey, how about I get my tattoo next week? Tayan asked. Your choice, darling, Bisola responded as she brought out 3 pajamas for us to wear. You're boss in the group you are in. Does it get happier with you guys' new tattoos? The only response I got was them having their hands on her hips, glaring faces. What about? I'm just curious, that's all. Are you interested in joining? Bisola looked me straight in my eyes. Me? Of course not. I just, want to know. You will when you decide to join us, and we aren't pressuring you. I know. I was disappointed none of them was going to tell me. After minutes of taking a bath in turns, we laid in bed. Bisola and Toyin were busy with their phone, so I strained my neck to take a look now and then. You need to get a phone, you know. I know, Bisola. It's not now. You guys know what's going on in my family. Maybe if things were alright, I would have gotten it now. She hummed at my response, and soon enough, Jane turned the lamp off as we laid in silence in the dark of sleep. It doesn't make the boss happier. It's just something recommend for us whenever we have our party, Jane said. Jane's voice made me open my eyes as I was about to go to sleep. And he doesn't pressure us to have one or something. Instead, he says, we're growing or something like, wow, that's a nice one you have there, Isola said. He seems nice. Yeah, he is, Jane said, and neither is Tosin a stranger to me. She referred to Bisola. I smiled. You guys are the best, honestly. In fact, best friends. Took you long enough to say it? Bisola threw her hands over me. Good night, besties. Good night. I closed my eyes to sleep with a smiley face. Bye, lad, Bisola said, beaming. Bye, and you girls should take care of yourselves, Mr. Edinger said, and drove Kitten away to his school. We made our way to the class and had history as the first subject that morning, but I was concentrating. I felt my neck poke and I turned back to see who it was, only to see Shin grinning at me with a pencil in his hand. Don't poke me with that pencil again, or I will report you. I summoned courage. Shin scoffed and replied, What are you, 5? I looked away to the tutor with a hurt thudding. How didn't I know he was at my back? That wasn't his regular seat, but he was Shin. He was have swapped with someone to frustrate my life. Shin of course didn't listen to me. He continued like I didn't just tell him not to poke me again. I leaned on my desk to distance myself from him. In spite of that, he still found a way to poke me. That guy was poking me with a pointed pencil. A jerk is always a jerk, I thought, but I could do nothing. Watch it. I'll watch him. If you poke her with that again, I will slap that head of yours. This all warned me after I heard her kick Shin's chair. Whatever, he mumbled. The bell rang and the teacher went away. Hours later, the school was over and I went home, but not until I informed my crazy brat besties. I looked at my wristwatch and saw it was 4:30 p.m. Mom must be home. I caught sight of the house and heaved a sigh. I didn't want to see him, to see my adopted father. I opened the door, entered the house, and saw Granny sobbed. My siblings were at the dining table crying. What is going on? I smelled trouble. Are you all okay? I faced Granny as I moved her, but she returned to me with a tight smile. I moved to my siblings instead. You two okay? There's trouble, Bisola was the first to speak. Oh, with who or between who? Where's Mom? With Dad. Val looked at me with teary eyes. I ran upstairs, taking the step two at a time, with thousands of thoughts running to and fro in my head at that short moment before I heard something crash in their room. You're messing with me, right? Mr. Johnson boomed. I rolled my eyes upward and turned the knob, frightened. My adopted father was going to kill me. I entered the room and saw my mom against the reading table crying. The books were on the floor, scattered, and a glass cup was broken. Mom! I ran to her as tears found their way out of my eyeballs. Are you okay? I asked, already crying. Yes, I am fine. Just go, get out. She pushed me weakly away from her. Now you, Mr. Johnson said, starting me to look at his face. His face was red. He was a man in a fair complexion that Basola took after, well, Bayo took after Mom's dark skin. So tell me where your mother got the money she used to buy foodstuff in the house. My mom couldn't shake her head or nod it because my pathetic adopted father would get the hint. Mr. Johnson's head flew across my face when least expected it. It was the hard slap. I sobbed and shook my head, saying, I don't know. Really? I will show you who I am today, he said and started unbuttoning his shirt. What is he going to do? He is a monster already? Mr. Johnson went by me and pulled my mom up and started strangling her. Mom widened her eyeball and started to pull away the hands wrapped in her neck. He was torturing her. I didn't want to her dead. She wasn't just going to die because of anyone, for caring. Not even her life would be taken because I knew if she died, we were all going to suffer. Except for Granny, who I only think would be suffering emotionally, but I would be the one feeling that heat of hell most, no doubt. I watched my mom's eyes begin to close, and I couldn't see her suffering like that anymore. She sold some things. Me, Johnson looked at me with doubt. She sold some of her properties and mine to buy some Will's food stuff. I stumbled as my eyes soaked with tears. Mr. Johnson chuckled, eyed his wife over like she was some kind of dirt, and released his hand around her like he dropped a speck of dirt. As I went to her and gathered her in my hands, she gaped hurriedly. Where's the remaining money? Mr. Johnson demanded. I looked at him with hatred and wished him dead. Where's the remaining money? He furiously asked. How dare you? He asked for the money he didn't work for, and almost strangling my mom to death. My mom pointed at the drawer and he went to pull it. He counted the money, he mumbled. 5,000 naira? He returned to us as he thrust the money inside his rare packet. I thought you stole from me, and oh, before you start stealing my money, because I guess I just gave you an idea. I want you to pack your things to my mother's room. I want to be using his room alone, he said, and shut the door with a loud bang on his way out. My mom began to sob, and I felt her temperature was high. Her body was hot. She seriously needed a doctor, and my adopted father, a psychiatrist or a psychologist. Mom, can you get up? I asked, trying to pull her up. She only shrugged as an answer, and I tried pulling her up. After she was on her feet, I suggested to her if she wanted to take a shower or a nap. Come, let's have a sit first, she whispered. We sat down, and my mom smiled at me as she began to rub her left finger all over her face as her right hand held my hand. You're strong, to come in here where you are so afraid of him. Don't do that again. He could kill you, Justin. I was frightened, Mom, but I couldn't watch you suffer alone in his hands, and I love you. I'll be darling too. I never will regret choosing you at that orphanage. Honestly, sweetheart, I smiled and cupped my cheek and said, I will never regret calling you my mother, biological or not, because you are the best. I hugged her and cried. Soon, I felt someone joining us hugging, and I knew it was my siblings. Alright, guys, I think that's okay. Would you prepare lunch for the family, Tessin? Just jolt of rice and eggs. Your siblings would help me pack. Alright, I nodded slightly and walked out of the room. Immediately, I shut the door and leaned against it. I heard Priscilla crying as she told Mom she loved her too. I sighed and shook my head, wondering what was happening to their grades in school.